Om 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vitvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. So yesterday we completed with the physical body and in what all ways, for what all reasons I don't need to entertain so much of an attachment with the physical body. One is because it is gross, it is going to drop dead one day, and it is filled with all substances which I may not want to touch. So the gross description is given because we immediately identify that sense of detachment from this awareness of this physical body. The next, Bhagwan Sri Adisankaracharya takes up explanation of the organs of perception action and then the inner instruments of perception, the Vivekachoodamani. Buddhendriyani Shravanam Tvagakshi Granam cha jihva Vishayava bodha Vishayava bodhanat Vakpani pada Gudamapyupastaha Karmendriyani Pravanena karmasu. So there are two groups of sense organs. One group refers to the sense organs of perception. Most of it are on our face. And the other group is spread throughout the body, the sense organs of action. Buddhi, Indriyani. The eyes of knowledge. Buddhi means knowledge. Steady thought, clear thought is Buddhi. Indriya means the perception of the sense organs. Shravanam, Tvak, Akshi. Shravanam is hearing, Tvak is feeling with the skin, Akshi is seeing with the eyes. Granam cha jihva. Granam is smelling and jihva is the tongue which is used for tasting. Vishaya avabodhanat. With these five sense organs, we know objects around us. We experience the presence of objects of senses, which are the object of sight, which is form and color, the object of hearing, which is sound, the object of smelling, which is smells, different smells, the object of tasting, which are the different tastes, and the object of feeling through the skin, which are the different experiences of heat and cold, rough and soft, and those different experiences which we happen to realize through the skin. Vak, Pani, Pada. Vak is the organ of speech. Pani are the organ of hands. Pada are the organ of feet, organs of walking. Gudam api upastaha. Guda Indriya is the organ of excretion of gross excreta, and upastha is the organ of reproduction. Karma Indriyani, they are called the Karma Indriyas or the organs of action. The earlier five refer to the organs of perception or organs of knowledge. Pravanena Karmasu. These five Karma Indriyas or the organs of actions engage in different actions in the world. As I speak, I'm moving my hands. When I stand up, I move from one place to another. And then the talking or the expressing that's happening, all organs of action express something or the other from the physical body and the mind through speech. The inner instruments, they're called the antakarana. As I explained the other day, the pen is a gross instrument, and then when you take the pen, the nib is there, the subtle line on that nib, that small channel of flow for the ink, everything refers to the inner instrument, which actually does the writing. The subtle aspects of that mechanics of the pen or a mobile phone or a speaker or a laptop, a computer, we have the gross equipment outside and the inner equipment inside, which is very subtle. निगद्यतेऽन्तः करणं मनोधीः अहं कृतिश्चित्तमिति स्ववृत्तिभिः मनस्तु संकल्प विकल्पनादिभिः बुद्धिः पदार्थाध्यवसाय धर्मतः अत्राभिमानात् अहमित्यहं कृतिः स्वार्थानुसंधान गुणेन चित्तम. So the manas, buddhi, chittam and ahankara, these four formations of the mind, these four are different thought forms which have different functions and different qualities. They're all together, they're called the antakaranam. They may not have separate distinguished entities or place for being, but when they do that function, they are called that. For example, nigatyate antakaranam. It is called antaha karanam. Antaha means inner, karanam means equipment. Manodhihi, the mind and the intellect. The mind, when there are choices, when there are differences perceived, many different objects are perceived, many choices are available, it's called the mind. But when one choice is taken and ascertained that this is what I'm going to express, then it becomes the intellect. The ahamkriti is the one that does the I work. It adds I to everything. I and mine. I means referring to my own personality. Mine to whatever I possess. Ahamkriti. Chittam. Chit means consciousness. Chit means the light of awareness. Ta refers to an object. Chittam refers to the objects of the five sense organs. The organ of the sense, the object of sound, the object of form and color, the object of smell, the object of taste, and the object of feeling. All these impressions are constantly there in our mind, whether we are waking or sleeping, when our eyes are open or when our eyes are closed. Constantly information is being sent into the mind through the skin and the other sense organs. It is gathered, saved and stored by the chitta. That is how once we see, when we are a kid, we are told that this is a first. In the beginning, we don't know it is a water bottle. We just see this object like an object, as if it's something close. We don't know anything about it. We don't know how to name it. We don't know its functions. But then they put this bottle, they fill up this bottle with water and put it in our school bag, in our lunch bag. We take it to school first day and they tell this is water bottle, and when it is lunchtime, you can drink water from this. And so the child understands this as water bottle. It first sees the object, the image of the object is stored in the mind. Then the parent and the elder says, this is a water bottle, use it for drinking. So the child knows this is a water bottle. And every day when this child sees the bottle, it, it reaffirms and it ascertains that this is a water bottle. And automatically, at one point of time, the child begins to address this as the water bottle because the thought impression has been constantly formed in the mind through the sense organ of perception and the sense organ of touch and the other sense organs. It gets the idea and gets the knowledge. It is stored in the chitta. And then at one point of time, nobody needs to tell that child that this is a water bottle and it's used for storing water. It becomes a matter of habit. So where is that data stored? That data is stored in the chitta. Iti swavrittibhihi. Every aspect of the antakarana, that is the mind, the intellect, the I thought, and the chitta, all of them, they function according to their own abilities. Swavritti means they have a mode of working and they do that work all the time. They don't interfere with each other. The mind will not do the work of ahankara. The ahankara will not do the work of buddhi. The buddhi will not do the work of chitta. So each one has their own job and they go about it every day. So what is the nature of the mind? How does the mind proceed on a day-to-day basis? Manastu sankalpa vikalpanadhihi. The mind has two things. One is sankalpa and the other is vikalpa. Vikalpa is many thoughts. This is a thought of a quotation. This is a thought of a clock. This is the thought of a pen stand. This is a thought of another independent pen stand. Then there is a thought of a mobile phone. There is a thought of a newspaper article. There is a thought of a water bottle. This is called a water bottle table mat. And this is in the mind. Sankalpa is there, vikalpa is there. Sankalpa means the mind has all these choices and then the mind says, I'm going to read this magazine now. That is called sankalpa. Vikalpa is when there is no sankalpa, all the thoughts that pass through the mind are vikalpa. There is no contact with those thoughts. They just come and go. They keep coming, they keep going. The thoughts come because of the external sense objects which are perceived. The thoughts also keep coming because of the memories that we have. They are expressing as different thoughts in our mind. All the beliefs that we have, all the strong ideas that we have, keep generating thoughts at all times. That is called vikalpa. That is, it is not properly imagined by us. That's what vikalpa means. Sankalpa means, yes, I want this. This is what I want. This is what I desire. I desire an ice cream. I desire a chocolate cake. I desire to have vegetable pulav. That is called sankalpa. Vikalpa is like that list which that server reads in the hotel. They read a big list of there is masala dosa, there is idli, vada, dosa, puri, upma, so many things, or paratha, burger, all these things are there. That's a list. That's vikalpa. Sankalpa is, yes, I'm going to have a masala dosa. We decide. That's called sankalpa. So that is the nature of the mind. Next time when you go to the hotel, you can study sankalpa and vikalpa in this manner. So you can identify the sankalpa thought and the vikalpa thought. Next is the buddhi, adhyavasai. So manaha tu sankalpa vikalpanadibihi, buddhihi pada artha adhya avasaya dharmataha. So what does the buddhi do? The manas has sankalpa. It just says, yeah, I want this. No, like a child, you take a child to a toy shop, the child sees so many toys, and then it stands in one place and identifies a car. And it says, I want this car, I want this car. And then the buddhi, in the form of the mother's voice or the father's voice, will tell the child that no, you see, the same car we got last time, you didn't like it, you broke it, so let us not get this car, let us get something else. The mother either decides for the child, or the mother decides to get the toy for the child. The child can only say, I want this. The mind can only say, I want this, I like this, I want to gather this, I want to take this, I want to possess this. The mind can only think that. But it is only the buddhi that gives the impetus to go after one thing and possess it and get it for the mind through the sense organs of action. So buddhi is pada artha. Buddhi is the one that studies that sankalpa. Buddhi is the one that analyzes so many things. It differentiates between many things. It differentiates between the word and the meaning and the essence and the qualities. The buddhi does a lot of analysis. In the mind, there is no analysis. There is just plain desire. Dharmataha means these are the qualities of the mind and the buddhi. And the ahankara, atra abhimanat ahamiti ahamkritihi. What does the ahamkriti or the ahankara do? It has got one thing called abhimanam. Abhimanam means whatever I see, I put a lot of meaning into it and I like it. I identify myself with it. For example, there is this pen stand, but immediately what will I have the abhimanam for is this lovely rose. There is life in this rose. It is so soft to touch. You know, I may not have attachment to this pen that does not write. Even if you fill it with ink, you can maximum put one signature in this pen. It does not write. So I don't identify with it so much. But I identify with this rose because it gives me joy to see that the freshness and the color and the beauty of this rose. So abhimanam, abhimanat aham. This rose belongs to me, or this water bottle belongs to me. This note which I wrote, it belongs to me. I like this. I appreciate this. We identify with things around us. We identify with people around us. We identify with this body, with this mind, with the intellect, with the breathing. And you say, my breath is very smooth today. My breathing is very congested today. My breathing is very raspy. It is very fast. My body is fat or my body is thin. We don't say my body. We say I am fat or I am thin. I am tall. I am short. Then we say I am hungry. I am thirsty. I am happy. I am sorrowful. I am intelligent. I am brilliant. I am not so brilliant. I am dull. All these things we say. Everything is because of the I thought that identifies with everything that we see around us. Atra abhimanat aham iti aham kritihi. It keeps saying I. Swartha anusandhana gunena chitta. So this chitta, chit is consciousness, awareness of what? Awareness of an object. Swartha anusandhana. There are so many objects or perceptions or thoughts that we have, the memories that we have stored. Swartha means the memories that we have. Anusandhana. Anusandhana means constantly thinking about the thoughts that we have, the worries that we have, the anxieties that we have, the joys that we have, the experiences that we experienced, our likes and dislikes, which are stored as memories. We keep ruminating about them. We keep thinking about them. When we say ruminating or thinking, we are casting our attention on those thoughts and those feelings, those emotions all the time. That is called the chittam. Chit means consciousness. Ta means object. takaro vai vishayaha, chittam. So these are, you cannot see them on an operation theatre. The mind, the intellect, the ahamkruti, ahankara, and the chittam cannot be revealed like a map and hung out to dry like a piece of cloth. You cannot take it out from the body. Just like you cannot take intelligence from the body, even if you do an operation of the head. You cannot take love from the heart, even when you do a heart operation. In the same way, you cannot physically show anything from the antakarana. They are all there in the form of thought. They are experiences as thought forms within us. The next are the five pranas. Pranapana vyanodana samana bhavatyasau pranaha swayameva vritti bhedat vikruti bhedat suvarna saliladivat. This prana, it becomes as five parts, as prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. According to its functions and modifications, it just vritti vedat means whatever work it does, and in whatever modification it appears, just like gold and water. When you heat gold and it flows as a molten liquid, it has got certain kind of a texture and certain kinds of properties. When you pour water, it has got both are liquid, but it has got different texture and different properties. In the same way, prana manifests as five different movements of energy in the body according to the functions that it does. Prana, basically that's same. Prakarshena ana, where the breathing is very well established. Prana is that form of energy that occupies the main sense organs through which we perceive objects. If I need to perceive this water bottle, the power, the mind sees it. The mind means the conscious awareness of this object through the sense organ is there. It understands this as a water bottle. But for the process of seeing, the power behind the eyes, the power of seeing, which is caused by prana shakti, falls on this bottle, outlines of this bottle. It covers this bottle completely and reports back the atomic structure of this bottle, and that's stored as data, and the mind interprets it as a water bottle. So prana does that work. Without prana, we cannot function in this world. We will not be able to, even when the prana is very low, we feel very low. We don't feel like opening our eyes sometimes. We feel so weak. It is when the prana is very, very low. The more of pranayama we do, we will be in tune with our prana and we will feel very highly energized throughout the day. Prana. Apana. Apana means that which evacuates things from the body. That the force of power that excretes. So whenever we have constipation, you see that the power of excretion is not working very well. And because that force is not there, the waste is not able to go out so easily. So apana is that power which pushes out waste from our body, especially through the lower extremities. And then you have uda, prana, apana. Then you have vyana. Vyana means a circulatory power in the body. Vyana is a communicative power in the body. So whatever happens at the feet, the sole of the feet is communicated to the top of the head. Whatever happens on this side of the hand is communicated to the other side and all parts of the body. It is because of the power of Vyana. It is because of the power of Vyana that the blood is moving around the body. The air is moving, circulating around. All the circulatory power goes to Vyana. And then you have Udana, or the uplifting power of the body. Udana is that power which brings out vomit. Vomit doesn't go down, it just pushes it up and comes out. And then Udana is responsible for the thoughts that we have. That's also an upward movement of energy. Thoughts are not downward movement, they are upward movement of energy in our head. The thoughts that we experience is caused by Udana. And the more and more the thoughts are very intuitive, the more and more the Udana Vayu is very powerful in us. In pranayama and in mudras, there are many, many methods by which we can increase the capacities of these 5 different types of Vayu, 5 different types of prana in our body. When the Udana Vayu is very abundant, this Udana is functioning very well, we get very, very high, subtle, and intuitive thoughts. Thoughts from out of the world thoughts, out of the box thinking. Everything happens when the Udana is very abundant. And then Udana also helps in removing the subtle body from the gross body and taking it upward at the time of death, taking it towards the world that we go through. It is a powerful force that ejects the subtle body from the gross body and takes it on an upward motion at the time of death. That is Udana. And then you have Samana. Samana means the digestive power. The food that we eat, the water that we drink is digested by the power of this Samana in the abdomen. Swayameva vritti bhedat vikruti bhedat suvarna saliladivat. Vritti and vikruti means by their movements, by their expression. Vikruti is by their own different functions. And what are the effects of the subtle body? Vagadi pancha, Shravanadi pancha, Pranadi pancha, Brahmukhani pancha, Buddhyadya vidyapi cha kama karmani, Puryashtakam sukshma shariramahu. Sukshma shariram, the subtle body, meaning it is a very it is not necessarily a visible presence, but it is a very experiential presence in us. Vagadi pancha. You have the 5 organs of action: the organ of speech, the organ of hands, the organ of legs, the organ of excretion, and the organ of reproduction. Shravana pancha, the 5 sense organs of perception: the organ of hearing, the organ of seeing, the organ of smelling, the organ of tasting, and the organ of touching. Shravanadi pancha. Then you have Abhramukhadi Pranadi pancha. You have the 5 pranas, or the prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. Abhramukhani pancha. Abhramukha means the 5 elements, the gross elements of matter: the element of earth, the element of water, the element of fire, the element of air, and the element of space. What happens? Buddhyadi avidyapi. Buddhyadi means the discriminative intellect. The ignorance means the ahamkruti. I knows only I. It doesn't know anything else. It doesn't know anything else except I. So that is the reason why people who go on talking about themselves are so boring, because they don't have anything else to talk to. There is nothing interesting. There's nothing more interesting in I other than the word I. So buddhi, ahamkara, and then the mind. avidya, and chitta, the desires, kama karmani, the desires spring from that, and because of the desires, action spring. Puri ashtakam, sukshma shariram, ahuhu. These are the 8 things. Avidya, kama, karma. Avidya means ignorance, kama means desire, karma means action, buddhi is intellect. Buddhi, avidya, kama, karma, which means buddhi is the intellect, avidya is the I notion, kama refers to the mind, and karma refers to the chitta, which contains the organs of, which contains the memories that bring thoughts and make us pursue actions based on those thoughts. So this is the nature of the subtle body. And then what is the subtle body's contents? What is it called? Idam shariram shrunu sukshma samhitam lingam tvapanchikrita bhuta sambhavam savasanam karma phalanubhavakam swajnanato nadirupa dhiratmanah. This sukshma shariram, this subtle body, is the upadhi. It is a covering for the Atman, means the real presence of I. It doesn't say it is I, but it is that I that we are in reality. What is the covering of this I? Idam shariram shrunu sukshma samhitam. This is the subtle body. Lingam, the presence of this body denotes the presence of life in a place. If there is a human being and you know there is a living person in that place, lingam, liyate anena iti lingaha. So something that merges one after the other is also called linga. To apanchikrita bhuta sambhavam. The panchikrita quintamerous quintuplification is panchikaranam, where we saw day before yesterday, where space, elements of space, air, fire, water and earth, half of it remains as they are, and the remaining half divides themselves into 4 parts and lends it to the other 4 elements. And in this way the physical body is born. That is called pentamerous quintuplification, panchikaranam. But here the subtle body has those 5 elements, but they are in an unmixed state. Apanchikrita, they are not mixed, meaning the idea of space remains as space, the idea of water remains as water, the idea of fire remains as fire, and the idea of air remains as air. So the idea of earth remains as earth. So it is apanchikrita bhuta sambhavam. This linga shariram, the sukshma shariram, or the subtle body is caused by the elements that are in their original state, unmixed state. Savasanam, it contains our desires of many lifetimes are stored in this subtle body. Savasanam karma phala anubhavakam. Constantly the subtle body is experiencing karma phala. Karma phala means it has done many actions throughout so many lifetimes, and those actions bring results that are stored in our memory, and these results constantly produce the experiences and the desires for more actions of the same kind. Whether it is good action or bad action, we keep experiencing the results of those actions in this subtle body. Swa ajnanataha. How is it? It is beginningless, and it just keeps generating and regenerating out of ignorance. There is no end until knowledge is attained. This subtle body keeps moving from body to body, from birth to birth, because of its own ignorance. It is very ignorant about itself. It does not realize the self. It does not realize the truth. For how long is it ignorant? Anadi Rupa. Anadi Rupa. Anadihi. Anadi means for endless period. How long don't I know Czechoslovakian language? For always I have not known Czechoslovakian language. Anadi. How long don't I do I not know Punjabi? I don't know Punjabi for a long period of time. Means from ever since I was born, I don't know Punjabi. So that way, Anadi means it does not have an origin. Is there an origin for my ignorance of Punjabi or ignorance of Telugu or ignorance of Kannada? There is no origin. Always I did not know. It is not that suddenly one day I did not start knowing these languages. So Anadihi. Anadi means this ignorance of I don't know who I am is Anadi. It has always existed. Now it has to go. That's all. It is natural. It has been existing. It has to go. That is where my work begins. Upadihi Atmanaha. The subtle equipment of the mind, intellect, the I thought, and the thought of different objects, ruminating on different objects, has been Anadi. It has been there, covering the light of consciousness, and it is the Upadi, means the consciousness is limited by the presence of this subtle body. Just as it is grossly limited by the gross body, it is subtly limited by the presence of the subtle body. Swapno bhavatyasya vibhaktyaवस्था स्वमात्र शेषेण vibhati yatra स्वप्ने tu buddhi स्वयमेव जागृत कालीन नानाविध vasanabhihi. The dream is a state when the subtle body, it expresses all by itself. So when do we see the subtle body? When we are seeing the dream, we are actually seeing our subtle body. Nobody would have realized this. Nobody would have known this. And how does the subtle body, how do we experience the subtle body? When we see our thoughts, we are actually experiencing the subtle body. When we see our feelings, our emotions, such as emotions of love, hatred, anger, jealousy, we are experiencing the movement in the subtle body. What we see in the dream as a dream is our subtle body. Swapnaha bhavati asya vibhakti avastha. The swapna or the dream is a state of existence for the subtle body. Swamatra sheshena vibhati yatra. Swamatra means by itself it's shining. It does not have any other, there is no torchlight or there is no tube light into the darkness of our head when we go to sleep. But still we see dreams filled with light. We may see a bright room. We may see sunlight. We may see cloudy sky. We may see blue skies. We may see the vast ocean. We may see mountains. We may see sharks and snakes and eels and ships. So many things we see. Everything is the manifestation of our subtle body. The subtle body takes all those forms in the and dream, and that is what we experience as a dream. Vibhati yatra swapne tu buddhihi. Why do we experience the subtle body in the dream? The buddhi, which is very alert and very conscious and throws its complete light around us during the waking state, has gone to sleep. The buddhi is not awake. It is in a state of stupor. And so the subtle body manifests itself, and we keep looking at so many things in the dream, and we try to interpret those dreams. Those dreams are actually caused by the different sensational experiences in our system. Suppose when we eat food, and it does not digest, and the digestion process is working so much, and we have collected so many thoughts during the day through the sense organs. Those thoughts are stored in the chitta. The digestive process movement in the body, the sensations that we experience, mingled with the thoughts that are there in the chitta, will give certain interpretations. The mind will interpret all those thoughts in its half sleepy state. If if something is not very clear, the interpretation by the mind is not clear because the buddhi is not active. Swamatra sheshena vibhati yatra swapne tu buddhihi swayameva jagrat kalina nana vidha vasanabhihi. Why are those experiences coming to me? Because of those different vasanas or different tendencies that I have. When I see a flower, or when I see um, a tiger in a dream, if I have the tendency for fear in me, then I will be terribly afraid. And if I have the tendency for laziness, I will be caught in front of the tiger. I will try to run, but I cannot run because in my waking state, I have not kept my body in such a fit condition where I run, jump, and do many things that I don't have that memory inside me. That vasana is not there. So it gives me an experience of being very slow, or as if the tiger is coming and I can feel the breath of the tiger, but still I'm not eaten by the tiger in the dream because it does not happen like that. Nothing actually happens in the dream. The dream is just throwing off of so many thoughts and feelings that are stored inside. Like the dream is like that thing, that snow globe, or that it's a game. You press a button, there is water inside, there are small toys put inside that glass globe, and then you press a button. Because of the pressure of the button, the water jumbles up, and the small dolls move around. And when you see it at night and you don't understand what is happening, you think they're all having a conversation, or they're all discussing something, or they're all coming to meet you, something or the other. So the dream is something like that. You have certain liquid kind of consciousness inside, and in that consciousness, throughout the day, so many inputs have gone inside, like those small dolls and the thick water inside that glass globe. And then when you press the button, when some trigger happens in the dream, maybe in the sleep time, maybe the stomach is churning, or the breathing is happening, or there's some palpitation, or something is happening. The trigger is like the pressing of the button, and everything inside the system goes for a toss, and they produce thoughts and feelings. And in the state of dream, in the half sleep state, we see many visions, and we experience them as dreams. So for a healthy person who has got a very healthy lifestyle and healthy browsing habits, or healthy viewing habits, healthy studying, healthy inputs of people around us, our dreams will be good. Dreams will be very good experiences we'll have. If everything that we do during daytime is not so healthy, then it is going to reflect as miserable dreams during night. कर्त्रादिभावं प्रतिपद्य राजते यत्र स्वयं भाति ह्ययं परात्मा धीमात्र कोपाधिरशि साक्षी न लिप्यते तत्कृत कर्मलेशैः यस्मादसङ्गस्ततएव कर्मभिः न लिप्यते किंचित् उपाधिना कृतैः कर्त्रादि भावम प्रतिपद्य rajate. The subtle body, which has the equipment of the ahamkara, entertains the thought that I am the doer. Katradi bhava means I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the doer. With the sense organs of actions, I identify myself as a doer. With the sense organs of perception, I identify myself as the enjoyer. Yatra Swayam Bhati, he ayam Paratma. That supreme consciousness is just Swayam Bhati. It is shining by itself. That is how we are able to see dreams at night. That is how we are able to experience the presence of thoughts in our head. That is how we are able to experience the different feelings that we have. If I experience a feeling of love, feeling of bliss, feeling of happiness, feeling of wonder, amazement, or even feeling of jealousy, feeling of anger, so many feelings we have, feeling of depression, every feeling that we experience is experienced by that light of consciousness only within. Without the light of consciousness, there's no way we can know anything inside. So, this yatra swayam bhati, he ayam para atma, the supreme I or consciousness which is present everywhere. The I that we call ourselves as an individual is the ordinary person. But the I that is present in everybody, in all beings, that sense of I. For example, when you go chasing a lizard, the lizard runs away because it has the sense of I and it experiences danger and threat to its life. And so it runs away. One day when I was in the temple, I was watching for half an hour. A moth was flying about. A lizard was running behind Surya Narayana Bhagavan on the wall. The lizard was going from one end of the wall to the other end of the wall to eat this moth. This moth somehow managed to escape for a long time, and it is just after all a moth, it can fly away, but still it kept coming to the wall. Even when I tell this, it gives me goosebumps of fear, that vibration of fear, because I saw how that lizard chased that moth, went after it, and gobbled it finally. No? So that sense of I is there, it does its work. Yatra swayam dhimatra ka upadihi ashesha sakshi na lipyate tat kritam krita karma leshaihi. Even though the subtle body is there and we experience different effects of the actions that we do, we experience a sense of doership, the enjoyership. The consciousness is not touched by anything. It is like that space around us or space in the sky, which is not touched by the big mountain that rises into space. The mountain does not disturb the space in any way. The tree, however big it may be, it does not cut out space, it does not disturb space, or it does not manipulate space. The tree does not have the capacity to make the space green, make that space actually. The looks of green we get because of the tree, and not it does not put its greenness on space. If you remove the tree, the green experience will go away because it is not present in the space that it occupies. Na lipyate tatkrita karma leshaihi. Even so much of the actions that we do. For example, when we do actions, see, I'm moving my hand from here to there. This movement is happening in space. The space is not disturbed by the action or the effect of action. Even if I'm going to beat the space, or I'm going to push, or I'm going to pull, nothing happens to the space. In the same way, consciousness is not affected by any of the actions that we do. Yasmad asangaha. Why it does not affect? This consciousness is asangaha. It does not have any attachment to anything. For example, the light in the room just falls about the room. The light does not get stuck to anything. The light does not get stuck to that Krishna idol because it is beautiful. The light does not get stuck to that lamp because it burns so brightly. The light does not get stuck to the peacock feathers. The light does not get stuck to anything. The light just flows. And when the light is not there, nothing is lost for the light. In the same way, consciousness is not stuck to anything. Consciousness is not stuck to our sense organs. Consciousness is not stuck to our minds, our likes, our dislikes, our decisions, our sense of identity. We say consciousness is not stuck to that. It only illuminates that like the light illuminates a room. Consciousness is not stuck to all the memories that we have, all the lifelong actions that we have done, the memories of those actions which are stored inside. Consciousness is not bound to anything. It is just standing like space, allowing clouds to pass, allowing birds to pass, allowing all the different formations of different colors of the sky. The black color comes and the gray color comes, the white color comes, the yellow color comes, the pinkish color comes, the purple color comes. Everything comes and goes. The sky is untouched by anything. The same way, consciousness is untouched by anything. Karmabhihi na lipyate kinchit upadhina kritaihi. This consciousness is not kinchit, even a little bit, it is not touched by all these upadhis or these limiting adjuncts. The limiting adjunct of the body, limiting adjuncts of the subtle body, meaning the manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, and prana. Nothing touches consciousness. Is what, and that consciousness is I, meaning nothing touches me. I am immortal. I am immaculate. I am pure. I means the I that we all used to refer to ourselves. It is not referring to this person, but I say I, you say I. Everybody who listens to this says I throughout the day. We are talking about that I, and that I is consciousness, the seer. Na lipyate kinchit upadina kritaihi. That seer is not attached or burdened or depressed or oppressed or suppressed by any of the equipment of matter and the subtle body. Sarvavyaprtikaranam lingamidam syad chidatmanah pumsah vasyadikamiva takshnas tenaivatma bhavatyasangoham. This Atma is equal to I. Simple equation. You can keep it as a mathematical. If at all, even this word Brahman is another word for Atma. Brahman is a totality. Everybody's I, the word that refers to that is Brahman. Atma means don't search for something in white color, dressed in white, floating in the sky. Nothing floats. Nothing is moving here and there. It is I. That word I you use, the word I has a meaning. When you say I, that word has got a meaning. That meaning is the Atma or I. That Atma sarva vyaprati karanam syat chidapmanah pumsaha vasyadikam iva takshna. Takshna means carpenter. The carpenter has many tools for his instruments. In the same way, the subtle body or the linga shariram or the subtle body means you cannot see it, and it is present everywhere, from the top of the head to the tip of the toe, from the right side of the tip of the hand to the left side, everywhere, every inch of the body it's present. Subtle body, you can say, is like government of India. You say, you cannot go searching for it in one place. You can go to an office. You can go to the Nirman Bhavan or Aikar Bhavan, or you can go to Delhi, Parliament of, you can see the Parliament, and then you can see New Delhi, government offices you can see. You cannot see Government of India. Government of India is represented through the offices which are there and officers who sit there. But you cannot find out, and you can make an official stand, official representing Government of India. You can see that official, but you cannot see Government of India. In the same way, The subtle body is represented in this gross body. You can see that person, but you cannot see the subtle body anywhere. You cannot see the mind, you cannot see the eye, you cannot see the intellect, you cannot see the chittam, because it is like the government of India, the government of Tamil Nadu, or government of Puducherry. It is just a notional term which is expressed to refer to a particular action that's happening everywhere, all around the place. So, Sarvavyaprati Karanam Lingamidam Syat Chidatmanaha Pumsaha. For the Pumsa, or the consciousness, or the human being, this subtle body is an equipment. It is like a veil, like an invisible veil that covers the eye. Imagine the eye or consciousness is there, and there's a very subtle veil, an invisible veil of mind, an invisible veil of different experiences stored in the form of memory, like our mobile phone chip, which contains all our data. In the same way, this chip which contains our data of many lifetimes is there in the form of chittam. And then there is this deciding nature of the intellect, the decisive thought process, and then the thought process that says, ascertains I for everything. So all this is around this I, and like the tools of a carpenter, the carpenter uses those tools and then puts them back. In the same way, the self uses these tools and then it just drops off itself. The self is unconnected with any of these tools or equipment of the mind. Bhavati asangaha ayam. This self or I is asangaha. It is not attached to any of these tools. So these are all not something that we can really understand through words, but over a period of time, when we patiently study these texts like the Vivekachoodamani, the constant process or application of our mind and energy on these thoughts itself will begin to teach us, will begin to inspire us, will begin to give the experiential feeling of what we are studying. So there is a lot of patience that's required, and with a lot of love, with a lot of understanding, with a lot of patience, and with the blessings of the Guru and blessings of Ishvara, this understanding can happen in us. So we will continue with this tomorrow, and let's see when we are able to take it up next. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Bashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Boli Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Hare Namah Parvati Pataye. Hara Hara Mahadeva. Hari Om.